Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. In our first story, we're going to tell you a great way to deal with an awkward situation. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Another gas station revenge story. I'm fortunate enough to work across the street from Costco and get my gas there because it's cheap. The gas station lines get crazy at rush hour. The other night I got in line after work and my line was going extra slow. Once I was second in line, I realized it was because one of the two pumps had a yellow out of order sign on it. Oh well. The guy in front of me left and I pulled up to the closest pump, the furthest being out of order. The guy behind me in an 8-plus-year-old Audi A4 pulled up right on my bumper. I got out of my car and started pumping gas. He was about 5 feet away from me and started laying on his horn and waving aggressively at me to pull up. I pointed to the out-of-order sign, but he was too big of a jerk to see it or open up his window and ask why I didn't pull up. He continued blowing on his horn. Everyone was staring. Frustrated, he whipped around my car to pull up to the pump in front of me, again out of order. By the time he realized the pump wasn't working, the car behind him had already pulled up on my bumper and he couldn't reverse. He screeched around the corner and swerved all the way around to get back in line. Behind 5 cars. Effing $30,000 millionaire. And our next story. Neighbor thinks she can get me banned from my workplace. I, 18-year-old female, have always lived in the same house in the countryside with the same neighbors, a rich family with 2 daughters at least 8 years older than me. Basically, my neighbors are the kind of people who expect everyone to kneel before them, and that they can get away with everything because they have money and powerful work positions. When my parents moved into our house, they played really nice, inviting them for dinner and giving them their old baby and kid stuff because my mother was pregnant at the time. But my parents had understood from the beginning that there was nothing generous and honest about them and their nice acts. It was a way to get you on their side, to buy you, if you will, so they could get away with more crap. When I was a kid, I think things were going quite okay, but as the years passed, they started to respect us less and less, and would often get into fights with my parents because of their attitude and noise. They're basically the worst neighbors you can think of. I don't remember exactly when, but I was about 8 years old when they stopped saying hello to me, or even reply when I greeted them. They basically stopped acknowledging my existence, and I remember it hurting me a lot. Now, we could have complained about them when they stepped out of line, but we knew they had way more money and power than us, and that if they wanted to get us in trouble, they could. It came to a close call once when my father snapped at one of the daughters a few years ago. Let's call her Julie. She's the entitled person in this story. Now, Julie and I have one common passion, horses. And of course, we ended up at the same riding center, which is surprising because I would have expected her to choose a more classy and prestigious stable. I've been going there since I was 11, but haven't seen her much because we didn't go there on the same days. At the beginning of 2020, her horse died, so she stopped coming, but the summer she came back and asked if there was any horse she could buy. I think she's now a part owner of a lovely mare. In the meantime, I'd started working at the stable on the weekends and got to know pretty much all the regular riders and owner that frequent it. The manager of the center knows me well, and he lets me take care of one of his horses as if he were my own. So I've been going to the stables every day after school as well, and therefore I've seen Julie a lot. The funny thing is, she's tried so hard to ignore me for the past 10 years that she doesn't know what I look like anymore, and therefore hasn't recognized me at all. She just thinks I'm a simple horse girl and not the person who's been living next to her for 18 years. I haven't said anything to anyone about it because I don't want to cause trouble. What happens at home has nothing to do with the riding center. While we don't really talk to each other, we at least say hi and the regular have a nice ride and such, as everyone does where I live. But I think she put the pieces together a few weeks ago because she began giving me dirty looks at the stables. Again, I don't really know what I did to her except merely existing. But for some reason, she wants to cause my family trouble and began crap-talking about me. Now, I like to think I'm pretty well liked among the regulars here and have no problems with anyone. I've heard from a few friends that Julie had been talking about me, so I just admitted that she was indeed my neighbor and that our families didn't get along well, but that I never wanted to bring our personal problems to the writing center. Obviously, she doesn't hold the same views as me. At first, I didn't pay it any attention, but then she started talking to my boss, the stable's owner, about me. He was the one telling me about it, but he didn't go into details. Apparently, she'd been asking crap like, is she even qualified? And she's not very polite, and she's been causing problems with the horse owners, which is utter bullcrap if you ask me, and basically pressuring him into firing me. Well, that obviously didn't happen because my boss is not someone you can manipulate like that, and he saw right through her crap. He warned her that if he ever heard one more bad word about me, he would ban her from the writing center. Ha! Your neighbor sounds like a witch. Good for you for not playing into her games. Pretty soon everyone will avoid her because no one likes to be around someone that only likes to spew venom, unless they're also a snake. And our last story. Saying you're the boss to the boss. So this happened 2 years ago. A little bit of background. I worked for a security company at a European airport, not allowed to say which, for about 10 years now. 2 years ago, I became a high-ranking supervisor. I'm responsible for about 400 plus agents. Because of that, the law states that I have to follow an additional course of 132 hours plus 2 exams to get my degree as security manager. Basically, everyone from supervisor to manager need to have this degree. The location of this course is at the training facility of a company, where all security guards of that company follow their basic training, refresh, specialized trainings, etc. And this is where my story begins. First off, one of the rules states that you should wear your uniform at all times when you do work-related things, like a training or course. One exemption is for newly hired guards. They get the uniform after the first 2 months of basic, guards from smaller companies who work for a bigger comp, and people who do one of the manager courses. The uniform is a black pair of pants with a red and white shirt for agents, red and black for supervisors, a tie for the men that needs to be worn every time, and completely black shoes. No other color allowed. Important for later. I was there with one of my fellow supervisors in our civilian clothes, and we were in a class with mostly people from other units within the company. It's been 4 years since we were last at the facility, and things changed over the years, so we kind of felt lost there at first. After a few hours, I spotted a friend of mine, Chris, who recently started the course for aviation security. I helped him apply for the job, etc., and I was talking to him, asking him how the course was and some small talk about the airport. He explained to me where the new facility restaurant is as we were on lunch break and then went back to his group. This is where the douche of the story, let's call him Kenny, walks up to me from that same group. Conversation went like this. Kenny, hey man. Me, hey, how are you? Kenny, you seem a bit lost here. Me, yeah, it's all a bit new to me. And Kenny, where's your uniform? Points to his own. Never mind, you're scheduled for the airport, right? Did you do your basic already? I knew where this was going, and I couldn't let this opportunity go, so I played along. Me, yes, I haven't received the new uniform yet, which is true, as the supervisor wears a different uniform. I hope it suits me. Yes, I'm going to the airport after this course. I passed basic a while ago, which is all basically true. Kenny, well, I'm in training right now to be a supervisor there. Me, oh, you're going to be my supervisor. Nice to meet you. Kenny, yeah, whatever. Next time we meet, you better be in uniform and wear it correctly. Got it, bud? Me, yes, sir. I walk off to the restaurant and told everything to my colleague. We started laughing our butts off and went on with our day. I texted my friend Chris and asked for Kenny's full name and what he was like in class. Chris told me everything, how Kenny was walking around like he knew it all, constantly talked back to his instructors, and how he didn't give a F about the uniform or the company's dress code. Really? Kenny also told the group about our conversation and how scared I looked. He and some others laughed about it, but Chris knew this would backfire, and how right he was. Chris never told Kenny he knew me and who I was, because he knew I'd handle it. Fast forward a few weeks later. I passed my course the week before and got my new red/black uniform. I was sitting at my desk going through the names of all the guards on duty today when I saw Kenny's name on there. I located his position and went to visit him. He was standing there at the x-ray machine. No tie, black and white shoes, and his shirt wasn't ironed. He didn't see me as he was too busy talking with another new guy instead of working. I talked to his team leader, who told me he already gave Kenny a warning today about his uniform, but he wouldn't listen. I said I wanted to see Kenny right now in my office. A few minutes later, Kenny walks in and doesn't recognize me at first until me. Kenny, you said I needed to be in uniform next time we met, so here I am. Kenny's eyes widened and realized who I was. Kenny, oh yeah, I was only kidding, sir. Me, never mind, dude. However, let's talk about you. You're not wearing your tie, your shirt looks like, well, crap, and your shoes aren't the right color. Not only that, but you ignored your team leader, who I trained when he warned you about the uniform, and you were a real pain during your training. You're also slacking off at work. How come? Kenny just stood there looking at the ground and mumbled something of an excuse. Me. I should write you up for ignoring your team leader, misbehavior, neglect, and slacking off. That's a 3-day suspension right there. But I'm in a good mood. You're obviously new here, so I'll let this one go for now, okay? Kenny. Thank you, sir. I didn't realize it'd be a problem. I'll behave accordingly, sir. Promise. Me. Great. And, one more thing, Kenny. Kenny. Yes, sir? Me. Make sure next time we meet, you wear the uniform correctly. Got it, bud? Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.